In the previous movie, we learned how to handle the AJAX response and to provide a visual indicator in our blog post to let us know when it had been favorited. However, we also realized that there was a problem, and that is that even though I can click the favorite button and it'll put the red heart there for me, if I reload the page, that red heart is lost. And the reason why is because the AJAX response is putting favorite in the class for the blog post. But when the page first loads, there's no code checking to see if something has been favorited when it renders it for the first time. So the AJAX has gotten slightly more advanced than the HTML code. Now let's add some code so that it will always take into account whether or not something has been favorited in the past. Up here at the top of our index.php page, right after we initialize the session, I'm going to write a new function, isFavorite. I'm going to pass in an ID, and it's just going to return true or false depending on whether something is a favorite or not. So how do we do that? Well, it's going to return whether something is in the array. We're going to look for ID inside session favorites. So I'll copy that, paste it right there, and then let's save that. Now we have the ability to find out if something is a favorite or not. Now we can come down here, and on each of our blog posts, we can use that. So after class blog post, I can add a bit of code here, PHP, that will if is favorite, and then what do we want to pass in? It's the ID, 101. So if is favorite 101, then what do we want to do? We want to echo favorite. That's it. Let's copy that same bit of PHP code and let's drop down to our next blog post. Let's do it again. Make sure you put a space so that blog post space and then our PHP code. And same thing here, blog post space and our PHP code. But this is going to be for 103. This one's going to be for 102. Now, probably in the real world, if you were doing this, you wouldn't have 3 separate listings for this. You would programmatically be listing out these blog posts. You'd be pulling them out of the database, and you would just have to have this code one time, and you would dynamically use the ID of each one of these blog posts in this code. So let's save it, and let's try it out. Let's reload our page. Look at that. We got all 3 of our hearts. So now it knows that something has been favorited. Let's try it again, just to make sure we've got it right. I'm going to take session favorites, and let's clear it. So all I have to do is put that in there. Let's reload the page. Now there are no favorites. Take that line back out. Let's reload the page one more time. Okay, so blog post 101, favorite it. There's the heart. When I reload the page, the heart remains. It works exactly as we'd expect. Now that we have our favorite button completely working, in the next movie, let's talk about how we might unfavorite blog posts if we wanted to undo our action.